Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to welcome you to the 14th edition of the ATU Library Webinar Series. My name is Barakujo White, and it is my pleasure to be the moderator for this section. Our theme for today is ensuring academic integrity in the era of artificial intelligence. We are glad to have as our chairperson, Professor Amavi Akapovi. Prof. Akapovi is currently the acting vice chancellor of Accra Technical University. He is a professor in the electrical or electronic engineering department of the institution. And Prof has also won many awards and grants. At this point, I would like Prof to give us some few words. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, can you hear
Hello,
me?
good afternoon. Yes, please.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you, Prof.
Can hear you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, we cannot hear you clearly, Prof.
I think it's better now. It should be better now. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, our academic community, student, staff, esteemed educators, and fellow students, you are welcome. You know, we've been organizing our series webinars on very, very great topics. And today's topic particularly on the ensuring academic integrity in the era of artificial intelligence is quite a thought-provoking topic. I've been reflecting over it and I tell myself this is quite the best topic to discuss at this time. Today, as we stand at the intersection of traditional academia and the rapidly advancing realm of artificial intelligence, we are faced with critical imperatives of ensuring academic integrity in the era of AI. Also, as technology continues to evolve, it presents both unprecedented opportunities and formidable challenges to the integrity of our academic pursuits. These are two very powerful things, unprecedented opportunities and formidable challenges to the integrity of our academic pursuit. First and foremost, let us acknowledge the profound impact that AI has had on the landscape of education. From personalized learning platforms to automated grading systems, AI has revolutionized how we access information, how we interact with educational content, and even evaluate academic performance. However, amidst these advancements, we must remain vigilant guardians of academic integrity. But the very essence of education is grounded in honesty, authenticity, and also intellectual rigor. If you are not careful, some days ago, we have a plagiarism checking software that student we use to assess the student work and to know how original their submissions are. But with the advancement and especially with the coming up of the chat GTP tool, all the students now can go on the internet, and if they know how to make good use of this, they get very good English, good data anyway, and they present to you, and the plagiarism software does not detect anything. Now, there is a very big questions in the academic era as at whether we have to revise, the existing plagiarism, software to have some percentages of AI, and whether even the existing tool are capable of detecting effectively content that come from the AI. Because it takes somebody to use this tool very well, and the person might not need to do any good work, any reflection, but produce very good work and get very good grades. So to address these challenges, we must adopt a multifaceted approach that combines technological solution with educational intervention. There are a lot of opportunities to solve this problem, and I believe that the speakers today will explore and investigate some of the solutions that at the end of this discussion, we can learn a lot of lessons that will actually advise the existing policies of the university and advance our academic pursuits so that we can still uphold some level of integrity and some level of honesty in the work that our students are doing and still produce, very good brain. On this note, I will not be too long. I want to encourage and also congratulate the speakers for accepting to take this job and for being part of our family of people who have spoken on our webinar, series. I wish you all the best, and I stand here to learn a lot from you. Thank you very much, and may you enjoy the rest of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, so much. Likely for us, we'll be hearing from two speakers. And the first of our speakers would be Dr. Awudu Karim. Dr. Awudu Karim is a lecturer at the Information Studies Department of the University of Ghana. His area of specialty is artificial intelligence, and this includes natural language processing, machine learning or deep learning, business intelligence, image processing, computer vision, and signal processing. Other areas by Dr. Awudu include data processing, data analytics, data mining, data structures and algorithms, computer architecture, information systems, database design, and web development. Dr. Karim has also won some research grants, some of which include the Fundamental Research Grant, Research Fund for the Central Universities of China, National Natural Science Foundation of China, the Key Laboratory of Dependable Service Computing in Cyber Physical Society, and the IoT and Telemedicine Research Project in Hunan University, China. Our second speaker is also Mr. Isaac Banza. Mr. Isaac Banza is an assistant lecturer in the Computer Science Department at the Accra Technical University. His area of expertise includes data communication and network security systems, multimedia, and internet computing. He also has a number of publications. To kickstart our program, we want to start with Dr. Awudu Karim. So Dr. Awudu Karim, your audience are ready for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair Barry White. And thanks, Prof, for your beautiful introduction. It almost sounded like what I am going to talk about. I hope I can go on without the video because I'll be sharing my screen for the presentation, if that is fine. Right.
All right.
So let me share my screen, my presentation for us to see. Let me share the screen. So I hope everybody can see the screen now. I have shared my screen. Can you see my screen? Any confirmations?
Yes, it's in.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you can see it.
All right, thank you very much. So we are good to go. I will try to speed up things so that I do not take a lot of time. I'm hoping to finish within 20-25 minutes, maximum 30 minutes. Right. So introduction to my talk today. Is it a talk or presentation or discussion? The topic for our webinar today is ensuring academic academic integrity. That was what I was trying to recall. Integrity in the era of AI. But AI has several or many categories, and we in education are more concerned with the generative AI. The other categories of AI are also as important, but we are more concerned with the generative AI. So today I want to shift a bit and talk about the generative AI, but it will generally include AI. But my discussion will be more on the generative AI. So according to this source, Wikipedia, let me get a moment. I'm trying to get my highlighter. Yeah, so according to Wikipedia, generative AI, sometimes known as the generative AI like this, or the Gen AI or GIA, whatever the case might be, is artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, videos, or other data using generative models, often in response to prompts that users send. Generative AI models learn patterns and structure of their training data because they are trained. Then generate new data that has similar characteristics with the data they have been trained with. In other words, generative AI refers to a category of AI or artificial intelligence designed to generate new content or data that is similar to or inspired by existing examples. So they are able to learn from examples and generate new content that shares similarity with the examples they learn from. Unlike traditional AI systems that focus on recognizing patterns or making predictions, there are different, like I said, different categories. Those that recognize patterns are called the classifiers. Those that do predictions are called predictive models, right? All those are different categories, but like I said, I am going to be talking about the generative one. So unlike these two, the generative one is capable of creating entirely new content, such as images, text, music, and even videos that mimic the style and structure and characteristics of the data they are trained with. So in short, that is generative AI. It's a type of AI that is able to develop or generate new content based on the data they are trained with. So I'm going to show some samples for us to see an example. I know many people, most students are using all kinds of generative AI tools nowadays, but let's have a look at this example. My voice seems a little low. I hope everybody can hear me. Right. So if you can see on your screens, I have sample one here. I hope everybody can see. This one, I have hidden the queries because I don't want to open the floodgates, because now many institutions have problems, dealing with AI generated content because we don't have policies, we don't have guidelines, and students are using them. So, and most teachers or educators are not, very abreast with this technology to be able to handle some of the malpractices from students. So I am hiding some portions. So the query is not there, but this is an output. Can everybody see this? One or two confirmations?
Yes.
Yes, we can see that.
Right. So this is a beautiful, the topic is information seeking behavior in distance education. So I have a beautiful abstract, looks very plausible, it's clean. When you read it, it sounds perfect, it's very clean. Then the rest of the thing, I have a table of content, and in the table of content, we have the regular things that you expect in introduction of any dissertation. Right? Then literature review, it has broken the literature review into themes, thematic areas, just as we do. Then it has methodology. So in short, it has followed most of the requirement of writing a dissertation. Right? And then it went on to give, introduction, just explanation, introductory paragraphs or statement for each of the outline. So in this one, this is not something a student can present as the full work, but the student would at least get to see the outline, at least something to begin with, something to start with, and then work your way through. The abstract is clean. Then I have the next one, which is the sample to the same topic. Again, I have hidden the query. I don't want students to see. This time, I have literature review. And the thing, in the first one, you see, it didn't actually expand on any of the major part. The literature review was just one paragraph. That's all. Methodology, just one. Findings, this is no way you can present this as a finding and get a score for this, right? But here, when I changed or when I modified the query, it gave me a lot on literature review, gave a beautiful introduction. Then it went on to review literature on thematic areas. The first one here is a theoretical framework. And then it has learner characteristics. It has technological advances. It has educational context. Based on the objectives, these are plausible thematic areas that a student would want to research or review literature on based on this topic. Then the next thing here you can see is that the thing is actually reviewing literature with references. Here it has a reference, this one has a reference. But one thing that many people do not believe is that sometimes, even though it can make up things, completely fictitious things, but it can also, it is intelligent enough to bring out some factual accuracies. For example, berry picking is a real model that is used in online information seeking behavior. It's a real model, and it was proposed by Bates in 1989. So this is true, absolutely true. Right? This model has been updated twice or so, in 2000 and 2005 or so. Then there is another one. This one too is also true, but I am not too sure of this one. I haven't checked because of lack of time. The next one too has, references that are true, although this one might look, I don't trust that one a lot. What you can see in this thing is that under each theme, it is discussing 3 publications, right? So it has the first one, the second one, the third one. When it went to the next one, 3 again. When it went to the next one, 3 again. This doesn't look real. A student, a human student, is not, and I haven't come across where you are restricted to do 3 references per each theme. Usually you have to write. So you have to do a lot of writing, and you have to minimum, I don't know, but minimum should not be 3, it should be more, 5, 7, 10, 15 per theme. But here it is doing 3 per theme. And that is one way of, detecting that this thing you have to give it a second look. And this is a way of detecting AI generated content. Not the only way, but it's a clue, it's a red flag. When you get a work like this, it's likely it has come from AI. You might want to take a second look. Then I have a third one about methodology, which did a great job. If a student presented this as a methodology, if you don't take time to check things out, you might at first glance think that it is okay. I have hidden a portion again at the bottom. I don't want to, but that was an in-depth one. So the thing is that if you know how to talk to generative AI, you would get a lot more from it, and it's amazing. Now, let's look at some views on generative AI in higher education. Some things that have been done about generative AI in higher education. This first one here, let me get my pen. My computer is a little slower on this side. So yes, according to Chris Welford, Westfall educators are battling plagiarism. Why? Because according to the survey they did, 89% of the students admit to using OpenAI's ChatGPT. ChatGPT was developed by OpenAI for their homeworks. So 89% of the students have already cheated with generative AI for their homeworks. And this was in January 2023. The next one, according to a research by study.com, is an online resource for students and educators. 48% of students admitted to using generative AI for at-home tests and quizzes, again cheating. 53 had it write an essay, and 22 had it write an outline for paper, just like I showed in the beginning. 72% of college students, shockingly, believe that generative AI should be banned completely from college network. 72%. 82% of college professors are aware of AI. And 72% of the professors who are aware of AI are concerned about its impact on cheating. But something is amazing. When I saw this, I just looked at it and I was confused, because 72% of the students themselves, the students that are cheating with the AI tool, are saying that it should be banned. But 66% of professors support students having access to it, right? In the same research, because 34% of educators believe that generative AI should be banned. In other words, 66% of professors believe that students should have access. So there are conflicting thoughts about the whole generative AI thing in higher education. When I continue, 43% of college students, in this particular one, the source is this, 43% of the students have used AI. 50% of those who have used generative AI use it to complete assignment, cheating again. 57% don't intend, in this particular one, they don't intend to use AI or do not wish to continue using AI to complete homework. 31% say that their instructors, course material, or school honor codes have explicitly prohibited AI use. So there are institutions that have clearly banned the use of any AI tools for academic work. 54% say that instructors haven't discussed openly the use of AI or generative AI. 60% report that the instructors haven't specified how to use AI. So I think in Ghana, most institutions belong to this one. We haven't explicitly specify how to use AI ethically, even if we accept that students should use AI in their work. We do not have policies and guidelines as yet because the discussion has just begun. 61% think that AI tools will become the new normal, because students are using them anyway. 51% agree that using AI tools to complete assignments and exams count as cheating and plagiarism. So 51% of respondents in this research believe that using AI-generated content for exams and assignments constitute plagiarism, etc. So now, how can students use generative AI to study? There are several ways students can use generative AI to study. Here, I'm not looking at whether it is ethical or not, how they can use the tool. So there are several good size or several ways students can use generative AI to study. A lot of them, but I have a few of them that I will not go deeply because of time. I wouldn't want to stay for too long. So I will quickly brush over a few of these points, like assignment and project support, research assistance, etc., etc. So let's begin with the first one. The first one is concept explanation. Generative AI can help clarify complex concepts or topics that students may find difficult to understand during lectures. By asking the right questions, students can receive concise explanations in examples tailored to their level of understanding from generative AI at their own convenience and pace. The next one is assignment and project support. When working on assignment and project, for instance, students can use generative AI to brainstorm ideas, outline key points, or generate initial drafts. Initial drafts, not final drafts. Generative AI can provide suggestions, offer insights through yes. Generative AI can provide suggestions, offer insights, or even help structure arguments based on the input provided by the students. For research assistance, generative AI can assist students in conducting research by providing relevant information, helping to summarize articles or research papers, and also helping to scan through abstracts and so on. Students can ask questions related to their research topic and receive responses to aid them in their literature review process. For language learning, students can engage in dialogue with generative AI to improve their writing skills, receive feedback on grammar, vocabulary usage, and explore idiomatic expressions, etc. Mock exams or tests. Generative AI can help students prepare for exams by generating sample questions on key concepts, formulas and definitions, etc. Students can practice questions and review questions answers with generative AI to reinforce their understanding and retention of the material. Learning assistance. When faced with challenging problems or exercises, I am not saying that students should, but it is something that a generative AI can do. Students can consult generative AI for step-by-step solution, explanations, or alternative approaches. Generative AI can assist students in solving mathematical, I'm not saying begin using them for your math problem. They can be used for generating code. I have faced that over and over. My students keep using, I catch them. Or providing guidance and insights. Critical thinking. Engaging in dialogue with generative AI can stimulate critical thinking. Students can debate topics, evaluate arguments, or explore issues with generative AI to enhance their analytical and critical thinking abilities. Time management and organization. Generative AI can help students manage their time and organize their study schedules by providing reminders, goals, or suggesting techniques and so on. Students can also create to-do lists, set priorities, and track their progress with generative AI. Assistive support. For students with disabilities or learning difficulties, generative AI comes in handy to provide assistive support by, for example, converting text to speech, transcription. Transcription is converting audio or video to text, summarizing content, and offering alternative explanation. Generative AI can accommodate diverse learning needs and preferences. For personalized learning, generative AI, by interacting with generative AI over time, the thing learns you. The student can benefit from personalized learning experience tailored to their individual interests, strengths, and areas for improvement. Because over time, the thing gets to know you just as a normal human being would. Narrative AI can adapt its responses based on students' input and feedback over a period of time, thereby fostering supportive and adaptive learning experience for the student. So in summary, students can use generative AI as a versatile study companion to supplement their learning, facilitate comprehension, and enhance their academic performance across various subjects and disciplines. So now the question is, does this have any negative implications on the students themselves and for academia or academic work in general? So let's look at a few, not just a few of them, negative tendencies in the use of generative AI for academic work? Because I have given so many instances where students can use generative AI to learn. Oh, I think I jumped something in the beginning here. I jumped this one. Generative AI has different kinds. We have some for text generation, as in this example, text generation. And examples for this one include the famous ChatGTP. Somebody, a senior person was talking to me and was saying, ChatGTP. GTP is a fabric, it's new. It's the new kid on the block. It has taken all of us by storm. Right. So the common ones include the ChatGPT, Jasper, and Bard from Google. These are the very common ones that we have for text generation. Although they can do other things, but they are mostly good at text generation. There are other ones, I wouldn't waste time on them. So I think the negative tendencies in the use of generative AI, here to make it easier to understand and put it in focus, I would refer to the generative AI as ChatGPT, because that is what most students, or if you like, educators use or come across. So whenever I say generative AI, or I will use them interchangeably, generative AI, ChatGPT, right? So let's say, what are the negative tendencies in the use of a generative AI, for example, ChatGPT? We have seen that it can help the students plan a time. It can help students, develop mock questions to practice their topics, etc. But let's look at some of the things, the negative sides, that the tempting side of using generative AI. Example, ChatGPT. It could lead to plagiarism. It can lead to inaccuracy in data, lack of originality, etc. So let me quickly short talk about, just briefly go through all of that. Plagiarism. Students may be tempted, to directly copy answers, like Prof said, copy answers or essays generated by the generative AI, for example, ChatGPT. When that happens, the student doesn't contribute any material or anything, and that is considered as plagiarism. So that is the first negative tendencies in using generative AI in education, the tendency of plagiarism. The next thing is inaccuracies, right? Generative AI is not infallible. In other words, it makes mistakes. It can sometimes produce inaccurate or misleading information. In fact, there's something called hallucination. Hallucination is where the generative AI goes out of sync and make things up, which will not necessarily make a lot of sense in a particular situation or scenario. So depending solely on it, AI generated content or generative AI, without verifying the information from source, could lead to serious errors in academic work. Even though they can produce plausible content, they can be factually incorrect. Lack of originality. This one doesn't need explanation. Lack of using generative AI exclusively will result in a lack of originality in the student's work, as the responses generated by the the responses generated by the model, for example, ChatGPT, may lack the unique insight or perspectives that come from individual thoughts. Everybody is different. How we think is different. That's why one lecturer or one teacher will teach a whole class. When there's an exam from the same lecturer, not everybody gets the same score because we have unique individual thoughts and approaches. That will be lacking if you're using generative AI. So the student becomes, dumb with no originality. The next one is dependency. Relying too heavily on generative AI, for example, ChatGPT, can hinder students' ability to think critically and independently. That is a serious problem, a serious negative effect. It's not only about the ethical issues, but also to the students themselves. That's why I have chosen negative tendencies instead of saying ethical, right? Because it doesn't affect only ethical concerns, also the students' progress in academic environment as well. The next one, the negative tendency that could arise from the use of generative AI, for example, ChatGPT, is limited learning. While generative AI can produce quick, beautiful answers, it may not encourage deep learning or understanding of the subject matter, because students will miss out on the opportunity to Am I here?
Hello?
Yes. Am I
Yes,
on?
please. Yes, please, you are.
Am I
There
still
seems to be
here?
a feedback.
Yes,
Yes,
please,
please,
we
you
are,
are.
but
All right.
there's a
Okay.
little bit
Better.
noise in your line.
Okay. Is it okay now? It's good. Is it good? We can move on.
It's
Please,
okay
it's
from my
good.
end.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So the next negative tendency is ethical concern, the major one. Using AI to complete academic work raises a whole world of academic issues about the authenticity of a student's effort and the fairness of their academic achievement. And this can compromise academic integrity. So that is where most of the discussions center. Ethical concerns. But not only that, I have shown that the student also directly is impacted negatively if they use generative AI in the wrong way. So the next thing I would want to throw out there is, should AI be integrated? Because I have shown that, yes, it has negative tendencies, but I have also shown some point that shows that it has good, students can apply them in good ways. Should AI be integrated into academic work? This is a discussion. This discussion is all over the place, right? So, to me, I would, coming from AI background, and I know, like somewhere in the research, the thing says that 57% of the respondents think that AI will become the new normal, right? And it is becoming true, because students are using, whether we like it or yes. That's why I am careful. I don't want to give too much, because as now the system is not ready to catch some of these things. So we have to be careful not to give out too much, right? So the question is, should AI be integrated into academic? Yes, to me, I would say, even though it is not something many people accept, but I would say yes. Yes, it should. If it should be integrated, how can it be done such that the result will not be catastrophic? So I have a few points here that I would want to bring out. Right. The first one is how to help educational institutions or universities, colleges, schools in general. How can they integrate AI into teaching and learning in an ethical manner? Number one is transparency and consent. Academic institutions should clearly communicate to students and faculty how generative AI should be used in teaching and learning processes. They should provide information about its capabilities, limitations, and ethical considerations. Institutions should obtain informed consent from users regarding their interactions with generative AI. That is very important, especially if the data to be collected will be stored. The next point is supervision and oversight. Very important. Supervision and oversight extremely necessary when integrating AI into teaching and learning activities. Faculty should oversee, very important, AI interactions with students and ensure that ethical guidelines are followed. In this regard, institutions should establish protocols for monitoring AI use so that faculty can monitor. When I was there outside, my supervisor could virtually see what I was doing every time I was. There are tools can monitor them, but there should be protocols that will outline these things so that everybody will know their limits. The next thing is critical thinking and digital literacy. Institutions should encourage students to critically evaluate the information provided by generative AI, example ChatGPT, and distinguish between credible and fictitious sources. The example I gave, some of the sources were true, some were, made up. Digital literacy skills should be enhanced for both, not just students, for both teachers and students, to enable them quality, reliability, and trustworthiness of generated AIs. Somebody's microphone is on. Please, can you mute yourself? It's giving feedback. Thank you very much. The next is to guard against bias and misinformation. In this regard, educational institutions should regularly evaluate generative AI's responses to ensure that they are accurate, 1, 2, they are unbiased, 3, they are free from misinformation. Because based on the data they are trained on, they mimic, they perpetuate, they carry on with the biases. And it is very important that education institutions find a way of making sure that this doesn't go on. They should monitor and address any instances of bias or harmful content generated by generative AI. Educational institutions should implement measures to prevent generative AI from perpetuating stereotypes, promoting misinformation, or generating inappropriate content. So at this point, I have put this one here, policy level. That means that to do all these things, we need a policy. It could be institutional or it could be national. The next point is respect for privacy and data security. Educational institutions should safeguard the privacy and data security of users interacting with generative AI. There are reasons why this is very important, because the thing learns. It has the ability over time, it gets to know. There's what is known as the artificial general intelligence. That one could actually fall in love just by being with it over time. It can develop to that level. So it is very important that data security is that data is safeguarded when we're dealing with AI. Very, very important. Educational institutions should minimize the collection and storage of personal data unless they're necessary for intended educational purposes. Educational institutions can implement robust security measures to protect user data from unauthorized access. Educational institutions can provide relevant privacy regulations and institutional policies to govern the use of AI technologies for academic purposes. The next point is alternatives and options. As we saw in the research, the online thing that I showed in the beginning, not every student wants to use generative AI or AI in general. So there should be that option. If a faculty is not comfortable with the use of AI, there should be a way out. Academic institutions should offer alternative methods of teaching and learning for students who may prefer not to interact with generative AI, or students and faculty who have ethical concerns about its use, so they don't want to have anything to do with it. They should be allowed. That option should be there. Educational institutions should respect students' preferences and provide opt-out options if necessary. They should ensure that no student is disadvantaged or discriminated against for choosing not or choosing to engage with generative AI. The next point is inclusive access. The thing has so much capability, so much power. So educational institutions, if they adopt this technology, if we have the policy to allow us to use generative AI or AI in general as a policy in our country, then institutions must ensure equitable access to generative AI and its related technologies, regardless of backgrounds, circumstances, or ability. Educational institutions should address accessibility barriers and provide accommodations, if you like, for students with disabilities or special needs to ensure their full participation in generative AI-enabled learning activities. The last point is continuous evaluation and improvement. If we want to integrate AI into teaching and learning in an ethical manner, then educational institutions should ensure they should continuously evaluate the ethical implications of integrating generative AI into teaching and learning practices. Educational institutions should solicit for feedbacks from student, faculty, and stakeholders to identify areas for improvement. They should address concerns and refine ethical guidelines and protocols for AI. educational institutions should stay informed about emerging ethical issues and developments in AI, especially in ethics, and to adapt to institutional practices accordingly. In a nutshell, by following these guidelines, educational institutions can harness the potential of generative AI to enhance teaching and learning experiences. We should not be focused on the ethical side of it. We should not be overly afraid to be scared over the ethical concerns. There are ways to deal with those. And these are some of the ways educational institutions can go around some of the ethical issues. So now finally, what are the real ways to ensure academic integrity in the era of AI? One, awareness. Students and educators and researchers should be informed about the ethical implication here, policy. We need guidelines. We have to know whether explicitly we have to use AI or we are not. So we need all that awareness. We need clear guidelines on what constitutes academic misconduct in the context of generative AI or AI in general, especially with things like plagiarism and misuse of AI tools. The next one is ethical use of AI. Institutions should incorporate academic institutions should incorporate topics on the responsible use of AI and technologies in their curriculum. And then citing sources, giving credit to original authors and original works, and understanding the limitations of AI-generated content should be boldly emphasized. Critical thinking. Students should be encouraged, AI is there, but they should be encouraged to critically evaluate the information they encounter, including those generated by AI. They should make sure they verify the credibility of sources and assess the validity of AI content. That is where AI is allowed. Technological solutions. We can use AI to catch AI. Prof was saying that there are some, software that could be used to detect, like Turnitin, etc. Now there are also AI-powered plagiarism detectors. They can do much better than the ordinary software. They can actually. That's why I said AI can detect AI. There's a way, if it comes to that stage where we have to teach students or faculty the best way of interacting with this when it's allowed, then we would be able to put that information out. There are ways to actually force the thing to admit if it did it, it would say I did it. There are ways that they can tell you of what percentage that is likely from AI or from human, etc. So technological solutions. Institutions can leverage AI-powered plagiarism detection software to identify instances of academic misconduct or malpractice. These tools, AI-powered tools, can compare student submissions against a vast ocean of academic papers online content to detect similarities and so on, so that we can detect whether this came from an AI source or is from a human source. Institutions can employ remote monitoring technologies to monitor online exams and prevent cheating. These technologies can detect suspicious behavior such as multiple people in close proximity or unusual eye, head, body movement, and flag potential instances of academic misconduct. The next one is the use of stronger authentication measures. Academic institutions can utilize secure authentication methods, such as biometric verification or multi-factor authentication, to ensure that students are who they claim to be when they are accessing online resources or submitting assignments, and so on. The next is regular update of policies. Very important. Institutions should review and update academic integrity policies regularly to address emerging challenges posed by AI technologies. They should ensure that policies are clear, accessible, and consistently enforced across all departments and institutions. Support services. Academic institutions should offer support services such as writing centers at Lagos and Cabo Writing Center, academic tutoring to help students develop their writing skills and avoid the temptation of engaging in academic dishonesty or malpractice. Research ethics. Institutions should instill strong commitment to research ethics among faculty and students. The importance of conducting original research, accurate reporting of findings, and adhering to ethical guidelines and standards cannot be overemphasized. In summary, by implementing these strategies, among other things, educational institutions can help maintain academic integrity in the era of AI. I am not afraid at all that AI is terrible, and if academic institutions take the steps and they put in the infrastructure as well as the information and policies and guidelines, we will be able to deal with AI. The best part is that AI can catch AI. So now the next thing is that I think I've taken too much time. I have to end there. Ensuring academic integrity in the era of AI. It's not only about students and faculty. Now I've talked so much about students. I wanted to also look at teachers, how generative AI can help educators or teachers or lecturers or professors teach and so on. But for lack of time, I plan to do 30 minutes. I have done 40 minutes. So I will jump this one. But there are a few points like personalized feedback. Teachers can use AI to develop personalized feedbacks for their students, have interactive Q&A sessions. They could use AI to develop material for flipped classroom activities. They can use what is known as virtual office hours. So the professor or the lecturer or the teacher doesn't have to be there physically. You can set AI up to do this. And instead, instant grading, very big issue, because here the system can grade and also give feedback on students' responses or performance. And the students know that this is not coming from the professor or the lecturer himself, it's coming from AI. So this is something that needs to be considered, because with our large sizes, class sizes nowadays, a lecturer will have about 600. There's no way you would be able to mark and then give feedback on 600. It's very tedious. AI can do that in a matter of minutes, but how ethical? Because the student will know that this is not coming from the lecturer himself, it's coming from a machine. But it's there, we can do that. As a language support for international students, as a research assistance, tool for improvement for teachers, as well as students. We know it's for students' improvements, for teachers as well, not only teachers, professionals as well, etc., etc. These are some of the ways teachers can use generative AI. Then it can also be used by administrators, for example, human resource and the other staff in higher education. One example is for student support services. We can also have virtual campus tours. So a student doesn't have to be physically here present, can have access to some of the campus facilities and things like that. It can be used in admissions. This is very important because we have the problem of protocols, and AI can clear all of that and then do the selection process based on a certain criteria, and it will be fair. That process will be fair. It will be devoid of human, human, here we call them protocols. So this is one useful way of AI for administrators in academic institutions. They can also be used in course advising and planning, faculty support, professional development, etc., etc., etc. A lot of them. Thank you all. Thank you very much. I have spent too much time. I was hoping to do a 30 minutes. I have done 44. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karen, for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So we would want to take the next presentation to be given by Mr. Isaac Banter. But before Mr. Isaac Banter starts, I would also want to acknowledge the presence of all our international participants. We also have Professor Felix from Accra Technical University joining us, as well as Prof. Asabre, and then Dr. Evelyn Bentel. Thank you so much, faculty members, for joining us. So, Mr. Isaac Banter, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. White. Please, I would like to confirm if my audio is coming on. Hello, can you please hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. I would like to share my screen with you so that you can watch my slides as I present. Hope that is fine. There's a little problem here. My screen sharing has been disabled. If you can help me, Mr. White. Mr. White, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yes,
please, you can share your screen. You can share your screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, hello? Please,
Hello.
it's Isaac.
Hello.
Yes, Isaac.
Yeah, Bansa, please, are you sharing your screen with your name or you are using a different name?
I'm using my name.
You are using your name. Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes,
because
please.
you are co-host also, so you have the access. That's why.
Okay. You go ahead and do that. think I'm fine. Good afternoon, Chairman, Professor Akakovi, and the first speaker, and all other participants. I'm the second speaker for this webinar, and I think Mr. White has done the introduction, so I don't need to repeat myself. And I promise to be very brief. The theme for the webinar is ensuring academic integrity in the era of artificial intelligence. And this is my outline for the presentation. There'll be an introduction, importance of academic integrity in education and research, challenges and opportunities, and finally, ethical use of AI in academia. Right, so AI has now, this technology has become very, very common. Virtually everybody says something about it, whether they are saying the truth or not, they do mention it. A layman on the street sees AI as trying to mimic the way human beings behave by using computer systems. And AI also meets education at various points, depending on your needs and whatever you want to achieve. So in the context of academia, AI is actually defined as trying to simulate the human intelligence by the use of computer systems. Moving on, let's look at the importance of academic integrity in education for research. Academic integrity in education is very, very essential. That is what you actually need. Then what does it come up with? When you ensure academic integrity in education and research, the first thing that you gain is personal growth. Why personal growth? Because before you actually ensure academic integrity, you might have done something yourself, as in making sure that you do the right thing. You don't cheat, you don't use AI softwares to get what you want. So by doing all those that by yourself, you end up improving on yourself. You have grown. You have added some knowledge to yourself. The second one is fairness and equality. You must be fair. Okay, you must be fair. And when they say fairness and equality in this case, what they are trying to say is that don't give anybody the upper hand. You must all work from the same stage, as in whatever resource is available to one person must be available to the other person as well. There must be equality. There must be fairness. And the third one is knowledge advancement. In doing all this, when you attempt, let's say you want to do a publication, then you decide not to use any AI-powered app, and you sit down and you do it by yourself, realize that you have actually learned something, and in so doing, contributing to the knowledge space. You contribute to the knowledge space, so you don't end up using other people's work and present it as if it is yours. So in ensuring academic integrity in education, you might have also contributed to that knowledge space. So that is knowledge advancement. Then adhering to ethical conduct is also absolute, because the moment you go contrary to what the ethical provisions are, you might have cheated. You are being dishonest and maybe plagiarized. Now, moving on. Sorry, I think I'm rather. Moving on, let's appreciate some challenges and opportunities in this. The first one is automated detection. Okay, if you use AI properly, you should be able to automate your system. So when somebody is being dishonest or somebody plagiarizes, you actually taking out that human effort out there. the system should be able to detect that automatically and give you feedback. So it can give you that opportunity to automate your system. And the second one is personalized feedback. It's not everybody's situation that might be the same. Somebody's offense might be maybe he had a citation wrong. I think I'm having a feedback. Somebody's offense might be maybe having some citations wrong. Others might be maybe they actually copied the thing dito as in verbatim. So in this case, you must be able to identify everybody's issue and give the person the appropriate feedback that he needs. If his situation is maybe he actually did the work, but he had a referencing wrong, then it's not the same as somebody who actually copied the work or used somebody's work without acknowledgement. So feedback must be personalized. Then we have what we call data analysis. You must be able to analyze data sets, okay, and find a way to uniquely identify somebody's situation. As in just like how the personalized situation is, if you analyze the data set, you should be able to tell that, okay, this is how this person's trend is. This person naturally cannot construct this statement. So how come he was able to do this time? It gives you a red flag, okay? Then with that too, there are challenges as well. One challenge is bias in algorithms. There are times that the algorithms we write don't feel very good. They are tuned in such a way that it ends up benefiting some group of people and others also losing out. So bias in algorithm is also a challenge, okay? Then evolving tactics. This is where the students try to beat us. Now, it's not even just students. Any other person who does some form of academic work or in the educational sector does that. Okay, they want to beat the system. Now, what they do, they just watch the trend. And now we have the one powerful app that is called a ChatGPT with different versions. Some are free, some you can pay for. And I want to believe the ones that you can pay for are more sophisticated. Now, students are using all this, knowing very well that we don't have their aunties, as in other AI-powered applications that could detect the usage of those things. So as the AI develops, people or students find way and bypass it to bypass the situation. So it will continue to stay with us. We must learn to live with it. Now, the next one is ethical considerations. That is also very, very important. We must try and stay within the provisions in the ethical distance that we have. In this case, the challenge here is it does not always favor the users. There may be some provisions that may prevent you from using, let's say, ChatGPT to even look for a definition, or maybe seek an explanation in something, or get a structure, or get a template, or anything. So the content of our ethical provisions is also very important. Then the next thing we are looking at now are exploration of opportunities for leveraging AI to promote integrity. So no matter how dangerous AI has been, we must find a way to leverage it to our benefit, okay? It's like fire. It's a very good servant, but it can also become a very bad master. It has come to live with us, so we must also learn to live with it. So how do we find usage ethically for all this? The first one is plagiarism detection. Plagiarism is, I call it a gross misconduct in research and education sector. So if we can have an app, an AI-powered app, that could just determine or detect plagiarism, I think it's a plus. You have a few of them in the system, but as it evolves, we are still, I'm saying we, because maybe I'm also at a point in time to become a student, bypassing it and finding a way to get through without being caught. But so if you have an effective AI-powered app that could detect that, it is a plus to education and research. The next one is real-time feedback. As in being able to get real-time feedback whenever you run an AI-powered test on a work that you've done, or maybe a work that you intend to do. Okay, your feedback must be in real time. And authorship verification, that is what actually guarantees you being able to detect a plagiarized work. Because in any case, if somebody plagiarizes somebody's work and your AI-powered app could not actually verify the person who authored the work, it just simply means that the person who actually plagiarized owns the work now. So this is a very, very, very important exercise, because there are situations where if authorship verification fails, it affects your citations and everything. And maybe your situation might not be a plagiarized work, but then maybe you had your citations wrong. So it's equally important. Then the next thing is ethical issue of AI in academia. Ethical issue of AI. Sorry, ethical use of AI in academia. So which means we should be able to use it. But how to use it is the issue here. The first thing is transparency. So if you want to use an AI-powered application in academia, the first thing you have to do is transparency. You must not do anything behind. Use it as the ethics say. The second thing is fairness. When I say fairness, if you use somebody's work, you must be able to acknowledge it. Your citations must be right. You don't do what you're not supposed to do. And the third one is privacy. Privacy comes in when sensitive data is used. It's not every data that is, let me put it this way, some data are very sensitive in that you can use it in any way that you want to do. So if you are able to get hold of such data and you use it, you must be able to acknowledge the source. You must protect the privacy of the author of such a work. Then the next one is accountability. For anything that you use the AI-powered app to do, you are accountable for the consequences. That is accountability. The next I have here is an overview of AI-powered plagiarism, detection tools and techniques. Plagiarism detection tools and techniques. The first thing I would like to talk about is the test comparison algorithms. They are one category of plagiarism detection tools. They are called the test comparison algorithms. An example is what we call the plug scan. Plug scan. What it does, it compares the data set by breaking them down into text form before it does the comparison with an already detected plagiarized data or work somewhere. Then the second category is the ones that runs on machine learning models. Machine learning models. And a typical example is uphold. And what it does is it learns the patterns of some data sets on the the algorithm. Then the next one is what we call, this is the more popular one, the natural language processing. An example is the Turnitin, okay? And in this case, what it does is the AI tries to allow the system to understand and interpret human language. An example of that is Eternity, and that is what is more, I think, the most common app we normally use for plagiarism check. Last but not the least is cross-document comparison. And the difference between this one and the text comparison algorithms are, this one, the comparison is done on larger data sets. Okay, larger data sets. Right, moving on. What are some of the best practices for integrating AI tools into academic workflows? The first thing you have to look at is the users. In any case, it is we, the users, that hit the enter key, no matter how automated the system is. So the first is to educate the users. And the second one is to outline clear policies and guidelines as to how to use the system. Okay. Then the third one is integrating with existing systems. Maybe they were running an existing system and you are introducing something new. Definitely you need to integrate. Then the last but not the least is customization and configuration. So if you integrate, you need to customize, you need to configure it to work for you, as in the best way you want it to work for you. The next one is, I think I'll keep it brief, so I've decided to end it here. So thank you very much, and let's have some questions and discuss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac Banter, for the presentation. At this point, I would ask that if you have any question, you kindly raise your hand so that I call you for the questions. You can also leave your questions in the chat. I would read them as well. So I have one question. Before Sarah comes in, Sarah, please let me ask the question. I'll pick about 3 questions and then ask the presenter to speak to them. Masbano says, how does generative AI help in time management? How does generative AI help in time management? Okay, Sarah Boateng, you can also take your question.
Yes, thank you so much for this afternoon's program. It's so educative. And so as an academic myself, the fear has always been, how do we use AI to help or leverage our academic excellence? The fear has always been, is it going to make people not creative? Because whatever it is you want to find result to, you put it in the chat, GPT, and then the result comes out. So, but this afternoon and having the experts in here, just want to find out, I realized that policy was one of the things. How do we ensure that together we can still have our creative mind, even though we have AI here too? We can collaborate with AI. That's basically what I want to put across. How do we collaborate with AI to still push our academic excellence? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, presenters, please, any of you can take these 2 questions.
I also have a question.
Okay, please, you can go on.
Can I attempt the lady's own? This is Sarah, before the third person comes in, yeah, so that we don't lose track.
All right.
My last but one slide actually spoke about best practices for integrating AI tools into academic workflows. It's not always that what we do using the AI-powered apps are wrong. There are safe ways that we can use it, okay? As we call it, ethically. In that, or you can go and maybe you just needed an explanation of a concept or a model. You put it there it will bring something out. And then in using this, you don't necessarily have to just lift it as you see it there. You have to read it and understand it and acknowledge if there is any source. So it's not like the tool itself is a bad thing, but it's how you use it. You know, some people even use it to write the entire thesis. Okay, so it's, oh yes, they'll find a way to break the topics down and look for the appropriate sections and put it together and submit. And if you see the thesis, if you know the person very well, you know that no, this language is not your language. Then you start looking for traces. But then you can still use it safely. It will explain to you the concepts, definitions, and whatever. So it's not always, it's not necessarily the use, sorry, the app, it is the use. I hope that's okay with you.
Okay. Please, Sarah, please, are you okay with the answer?
Yeah, I think that's a fair response. And yeah, we just have to going forward, help ourselves to do better with it. It's a good tool, but it's how we apply it. Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions, please?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I actually have a question.
Okay, please.
Something bothers me, especially in our academic landscape concerning adoption of AI, the usage or utilization of AI, and the perception by our academics and the students, especially in Africa. Historically, looking backwards, you find out that when we have technology, Africans rebel. When we have IT adoption in teaching and learning, we rebelled. At the end of the day, even when Google came out, people were like, oh, a lot of fraud, a lot of issues comes up. Then the critical issue now is AI is here for us to adopt, utilize, and make maximum use of the technology because it has a lot of advantages mentioned by Prof. But yet, some institutions are giving a blackmail to that, discouraging the use of AI rather than going into designing a policy to guide the usage, as well as giving a training on the use of AI in their different institutions. My question is, what are this readiness? What is the readiness or are the readiness of our universities in Africa to adapt AI? Because from all indication, it shows that we are not ready. It's as a tool imposed on us. We don't know what to do with. So we start kicking against it, the usage and all that in our education system. While in the Western world, they have gone far with it. Students are using it, making maximum utilization of AI without looking back. Whether we need to adopt it, whether we don't need to adopt it, shouldn't be a debatable issue. So is the readiness I am concerned? Are we really ready to adopt AI or integrate AI in teaching and learning in Africa? Thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Awudu, Mr. Banta, are we ready as Africans?
I think what she said is not far from the truth. In that one, its usage is not illegal. Okay, its usage is not illegal, but how you use it, is the issue. So I don't actually see anything wrong with it if you use it ethically. You know, there's a saying right now that is, you don't work hard, you work smart. Okay, I quite remember when there were no computers. We were doing everything with our hands. We write our notes with our hands and everything. when the computer came, it changed the way we look at things. Okay, changed the way we look at things. I remember there was some time ago, one professor was able to send an email, and he said it in a meeting. Oh, today I can send an email because it's the secretary that does it for him every day. And he was happy, and you can see happiness in his face. If that is what has come and its usage is accepted, it can be used. But then, once again, ethically. So I think she's not far from the truth. We shy away from technology at this side of our world. The moment the technology threatens our capabilities, that is what happens. We'll start running away from it, thinking that it is coming to take your place. So instead of you learning how to use it safely, you reject it. So my sister, I don't know if I've actually answered your question, but that is how I see it.
You actually made an attempt, but I'm trying to portray something here. Africa seems not to be ready for AI. And as such, it results to this argument whether to adapt, whether to use or not to use. Because adoption of AI and usage in Western world is not a debate now, but it's an embraced innovation for e-learning. When you talk about e-learning, remember the glamour for e-learning comes as a result of COVID-19. The scientists went in to find out how can we, artificial intelligence, how can we help? And this thing came on board. The thing is that we are not cultured with integrity in Africa. If we're cultured with integrity, I think we won't be debating this first. Secondly, some of our top academicians are yet struggling with the knowledge, with the skill, ICT skill. How much more? Burdening them with the also learning, because all these things has their rigors. For you to know how to use the AI, all the tools in AI, what to do with this and that is like a whole work of institution on its own for some academics. So because they cannot be able to fit into that, they are not ready. So they can kick against it, because if I can't use it, no one can use it. So on a clear note, when we hear about AI, we should be ready for it. How do we get ready? Just what the first presenter has mentioned. We should start looking for how to train our students and staff on the skills to adopt and use AI. If we are ready, we will not be talking and debating whether to use or not to use. That is actually the point, my own point of view towards AI adoption in Africa.
All right, Ms. Ojuku, thank you so much. We also have another question from Echo.
Hello, my name is Echo Abraham, and I'm talking from the University of Education, Winneba. Thank you for the wonderful presentations that you have had. I was following keenly, and my interest is with regards to visual art or images concerning AI. And I was glad Dr. Karim mentioned that there are softwares like Dale A2, which can actually generate images or artworks using some prompts. Regarding this kind of tool, how do we, look at issues with plagiarism and, creativity with regards to AI generating images or visual art content? I don't know if anyone can help me with that. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, I don't know if you heard my question.
Please, we didn't hear. Can you repeat it, please?
Okay, so my question is this, that how do we apply these ethical considerations with regards to image generation?
Okay, I believe.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Faisal Mohammed. Is that Faisal Mohammed from
No,
Boniface?
Abraham.
Sorry. Yes, Mr. Abraham.
Yes, sir.
Image generation is not different from any generative AI. So the same rules, the same policies would apply, right? There is one research about attribution where AI attributed the one of the lost artifacts to a potential owner. It became a contentious discussion between scientists that could not be accepted. But later on, some scientists, based on their own analysis, came to the conclusion that, hey, it looks like AI is right. So the rules for generating images will not necessarily be different from those for generating text, for example, right? The ethical issues, plagiarism, all those things would apply because at the end of the day, it is content generated by a machine, not you, the human being, right? So anything that should apply to me for using a generative tool to generate, for example, my research paper shouldn't be so different from you using the tool to generate an artifact that is from the machine that you want to take credit for, right? So I think I have made a little bit of sense. So in a nutshell, the rules will apply generally, right?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you too. Emmanuel Amikia, can we take your question, please?
Yeah, so good afternoon, and thank you very much for the insightful content. I think I joined late, so I didn't follow most of I didn't get most of the message. But my question is, if there's skepticism in the system because a lot of the students from our part of the world wouldn't want to do any serious work once there's this tool available for them to generate content and all that. So if they present their work, how do we have tools that can help us to detect this AI generated content? And if they are there, are they free? Are they readily accessible to everybody? So that's what I just want to find out.
All right, thank you, Mr. I didn't.
Emmanuel.
Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, thank you for your question. Yes, there are tools that are free, but unfortunately, the free ones may not do the job well. So if you want to get the good ones, you would have to pay. That's why it is important for institutions to acquire them. Once the institution acquires them, then it will not become an individual burden. The institution can get a group license so that all faculty and students can have access. And there are pretty good ones that can really do the job. They can really catch especially if the student doesn't touch the content at all. Or if the student, there are some things the student can do, but the clever ones will still catch them. Right. So there are tools. There are tools. Unfortunately, they are not free and they are expensive. Just like ChatGPT, ChatGPT.
So could that be, so could that be the reason why our part of the world is a little bit concerned about adapting these AI apps?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Silicon, so please, your question.
Oh,
Hello,
oh,
Pelican, please, are you there? You raised your hand.
I'm Ransford Klinogo. I don't know whether it's me.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes, please, Pelican.
Hello. Okay. So my question is, what is prompt engineering in using generative AI to learn, and how can it help me to learn effectively? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Salikan Dovlo. So if you were here, I gave some of the points or instances where generative AI can help a student. So it applies also to your scenario. It's not different, right? It can help you do, for example, practice your material by giving you more questions, right? It can help you develop a structure for your topic or outline for writing something. It can help you do all of that. So it's not different from any other scenario, right? And you ask about prompt engineering. Prompt engineering has nothing, it's not what you need to know before you can use AI, right? That's not your part. Your part is to be able to, you have to understand the limitations, how to interact with the system to get the best out of it. I showed 3 samples, the same title, but each of the sample gave me a little bit more. That is how you interact with it. Based on your prompt or the input that you send to the system, you will get your response. So if you need to get precise responses, you need to supply precise prompt, right? But the engineering, prompt engineering is not a concern at all for you as a user of the system, right? That is not your part at all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll take another question from Mr. Abraham.
And I hear, please, let me add something small.
Yeah.
I hear maybe the lady will be angry. She will think that, I am trying to dodge. Please, I am not dodging because we have to, we have to move slowly, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to open the floodgates, right? Because there is, I was telling you, a senior lecturer was talking to me about this thing, and he or she, I don't want to be specific, he or she kept saying chat GPT, chat GTP the whole time. And every time he or she said chat GTP, it was like a bomb in my tummy, boom, until I managed to put it in a funny way for us to, so the thing is now cooking. So we have to go slowly, right? Thank you very much. So I'm not dodging.
Please let me read some few comments before we take the next question. Africans, we are never ready for anything. So let's move on. The world has never waited for us anyway. We must catch up as we have always done. That is a compliment. Again, Nana Opoku says, if we ever wait to be ready, we won't ever be. These are some few questions. And Dr. Ada is saying, in as much as
Please, we
refer
can't
to the
hear
Western...
you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Ada is saying, in as much as we refer to the Western world effectively utilizing AI, I would like to inform us that their academia are equally bothered about AI, especially in how it's used. A workshop by Western open access publishers hampered more on the ethical use of AI in research. If it's not a general issue, I'm sure it wouldn't have been a topic for discussion in such a workshop. Ethics, again mentioned here. All right, so we'll take the next question from Abraham.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Abraham,
you so
please.
very much for the opportunity, and I'm grateful for.
Mr. Chair, before the question, please, I would like to, unfortunately, ask for permission to leave. I have to attend some meeting somewhere. Now I'll be happy if I'll be granted the opportunity to leave. Thank you.
Doc, thank you so much. Can I go ahead with a question, please?
Thank you, Doc. We are very grateful.
All right.
All right. Yes, please. You can go ahead with the question.
Everybody.
Okay. How I wish Doc could be here and respond to my question. All right. I'm talking from Winneba. I joined from Winneba actually, and I do not know how the question I'm coming to pose could be responded to. Now, when the discussions were unfolding, I've followed keenly, and I noticed that a lot of people are so much concerned about how AI is being used, especially in academia. And I want to believe that, you know, the ones or the brains behind this what was the name, this AI applications and all that, their first motive was not meant to have people, you know, copy stuff and submit as a research work. They were only doing this to help the entire humanity. You know, wherever you are, you should be able to have access to information, to be able to do things on your own. I want to believe that is what motivated them to going into this whole thing. So I am thinking, if the whole thing becomes problematic, especially when it comes to research work. Otherwise, it shouldn't really be a problem. So personally, I feel research work, dissertations, thesis writing, and all those things, I feel they have outlived, their stay. Can we begin to think about a different way, okay, of asking people to present a project work? Can we have a different discussion in that regard? So that, you know, because whether we like it or not, okay, these AIs have come to stay and they will be with us, and people would always use them. So we have always written theses. Over the years, dissertations have always been written, and it has been the norm for centuries now. So can we have a different debates as to how best research work should be done? I think, I don't know, I don't have an answer myself. Probably I'm just trying to challenge our minds, especially the big brains here, the professors, the doctors here. If there's any way we can begin to look at this whole thing so that, that's just my concern. I don't know if it's possible actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can help small. I think those of us in technical universities, one of the ways that we are trying to look at is to students rather come out with CBT. That is, when we say CB, that is practical oriented stuff, especially those of us in technical universities. So instead of maybe writing dissertation, they rather come out with practical projects. And then we do exhibition, and then probably at the end of the project, you write reports, how you went about it. I think this is one of the ways that those of us in technical university, we are looking at it. And I think this is a very, very interesting issue. And I think those of us in academia, is something that we can think about, maybe come out with a lot of suggestions and see whether our old ways of doing things, we should continue, or there should be a new direction. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Okay, so we'll take the next question from Mr. Osabute Daniel.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to all of you. Yes, I think we've all agreed that we can safely integrate AI into academic pursuits. It has become a new normal. So can't we then charge our various IT units to actually come out with policies that will ensure integrity and then ethical issues in the use of AI, instead of thinking that AI is not being used properly? Can we have a way of coming out with policies to guide both lecturers and students so we can have the full benefit from AI? I think that could be done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Della or Damson, can we please take your question?
Yeah, thank you. My own is not a question, but it's a request. I want to find out. I was struggling to join. I just get the chance. So if there is a recording, is there a recording that we can receive and replay? And what medium do we get it through? How do we get it? That is what my request is about. Thank you.
Okay. Kindly drop your email in the chat box. We'll copy and then send you the presentation.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello. Mr. White, please, I want to add to what is going on. I think listening to all the presentation, what is coming out is, yes, we should adapt it, but then we should come out with clear guidelines, policies, awareness, education. I think that is very, very important, because whether we like it or not, the students will use it. And so institutions should find ways of rather guiding the students to use it ethically. I think that is what I'm getting. And let's not shy away from we are afraid. Otherwise, Africa will always be left behind. Thank you.
Then
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please, if you have a question, I think if you have a question, you can go on. The moderator is.
All right. So, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Ransford calling from, speaking from Enchi. I listened to a presentation made by one Professor Bodomo, I think from Vietnam, a university in Vietnam. He said what he does, he teaches languages, I think African languages actually. So in his presentation, he said he knows that his students use this ChatGPT and the rest. So what he does as an assessment is when he gives you work, and for example, he's allocating 30 marks, he lets you do the work. Wherever you get your information from, you do it. Then you come and do a presentation. And now you do the presentation, he gives maybe 20 marks for the presentation to see if what you generated, you have mastered the information you have found. So you get the information, but your mastery over the information through the presentation is what it gives more mark to. So in this way, the learners are able to generate it, fine, the system generates it for them, but they must be able to read it and master it so that the presentation would tell. So that's what he does, because he knows that this thing has come in. Another thing also I want to find out is that is there any way if I use Google or to search for an information and then I can reference Google, is there no way to reference ChatGPT? If I get an information from ChatGPT, is it unethical? Is there any way to reference it? I don't know. It may be look at. Then, like one of our colleagues just said, we may have to start thinking of raising the debate beyond finding a way to integrate it. We may also have to start rethinking how we assess our learners. Is there any other way to assess them beyond the essays, the writings, the writing? So, is there any way we should start rethinking that? I think that's those are the few things I've also found to. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've seen an article to one of these was science director too, and they have referenced ChatGPT, and that was interesting.
Oh,
yes,
thank you so much.
Yes, please. I think we could
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Please, there's another question. What is the difference between searching online for information and using AI for the same purpose? Mr. Bansa, if you could help us.
Please, we didn't hear the question.
The question is, what is the difference between searching online for information and using AI for the same purpose?
In the case of the AI, for instance, the GTP, what happens is the information you get is not an information with an author. It just learns from the, what do you call it, the database. It learns how to put information together to be meaningful. So more of the time, the information you take from there has no author. You see? But then when you make the deliberate attempt to look for information, let's say on the web, what you see will maybe articles or information with an author, which you can easily give reference to. Put a question to GTP, okay? Repeat the question 3 times. All the answers you get will not be the same. So that is how it works. It generates the data by itself. So most of the information you get from the ChatGPT has no author. Unless you make a deliberate request for the authors. And there are times it will give you the author all right, but then when you look for it later, or let's say an engine, search engine, you will not get the author. So we are all left in there. We don't know what exactly is happening, but then all I know is most of the information that ChatGPT provides has no author. You can ask the same question 2 times to give you 2 different answers. I don't know if
all right.
I want to, Mr. Barry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Mr. Bansa also said.
Okay.
So most often, now we have some of the AIs that is able to surface the net. Example, when you use Bing AI or Copilot, now they call it Copilots. Yeah, so that one actually interacts directly with the web, so you are able to get up-to-date information. But one key difference when you are searching on the internet, and that of the artificial intelligence, when it comes to the AI, you have to be clear with your patterns, because if you are not good with your patterns, the same information that you get online, you can get something similar or accurate in the GPTs or AI when you know your patterns correctly. Because we have several patterns. We have the context manager pattern, we have the semantic filter pattern, we have the fact check pattern, we have reflection pattern. So it is a model. So if you don't know how to interact with the model very well, it's kind of you going to get an information that is scanty. That is not more detailed. And you see, some, for instance, in academia,
and this time when I call
think somebody I asked someone also raised the question, like you getting something from Google, someone also using the AI tool can go to the extent of using keywords such as analyze, critique, characteristics, distill, evaluate, extract, summarize, clarify, refactor, modify, reformat, translate, brainstorm, draft, elaborate, plan. So all these are the keywords that we can combine. If you are not getting something, ask the same thing that Google will give you. This artificial intelligence tools, if you're able to know the patterns very well, it's likely going to give you something similar. But if you want to get a source, then it's advisable to use Copilot or the AI tools that can interact directly with the internet. So when you shift to GPT-4, ChatGPT, when you have the paid version, they have plugins that, yes, you can put certain things in that will call out some information from the net and give you feedback.
Okay, Mr. Robert, thank you so much. We'll take a
Okay,
last question.
Mr. White.
Yes, please.
Okay, please, my hand has been up for some time now.
So I was going to say we'll take a last question from Patricia.
Okay, thank you. So please, I just want to add to what Obed and Mr. Banza said earlier. So it's the same, depending on the kind of AI you are using. But then if like the chat GPT, for instance, if you use it a lot, you realize that at times when you're even asking for questions, it can make mistakes. Then when you try to ask like something like but this is not what I was expecting to tell you, I'm sorry. And you try to redirect now, try to give you another answer to the question you asked. So when you're using this without even knowing what you are doing, it can also mislead you. So you should know exactly, to understand what you are doing. Yes, you can get information from there. Yes. That can be misleading. For instance, when you use it to solve 30 questions, for example, you realize the answers it's even giving you, like you ask it to solve questions for you, and you ask it to give you answers to the question sets. There's some of the answers it gives are wrong. And when I get to the referencing too, the references it will give you, you go and search and you never find that reference. So in as much as it is there to help us, you should also know what you are about. Else you can write something and then you realize all you've written is actually wrong. You have the information, but then doesn't add up.
Sure.
That's something we should also take notice of. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So may I add to what Patricia just shared?
I actually support the last speaker.
Yes, I support it clearly.
Yeah, there are more to AI that we also did not reveal here. You know, AI does this duplication of reports. What AI give me on a particular keyword is the same thing it gives to everybody anywhere. So that is more reason why there is need for us to be trained and be enlightened on these critical issues. You see, in a class of 35, if they all use AI, you find out that 35 of them are writing the same thing. Do you understand? If they put in this one question. So that is another indicator to know when a student is using an AI for a smart teacher, for a smart lecturer. So we also need to know that AI is just like a guide. Let us just put it like Google is a guide to enlighten you. Then every order of your learning is an e-learning. Every order of your learning should now be from you, from what you have learned. I see it as a teacher. AI is just a teacher that we need to use and learn, not for us to duplicate or plagiarize.
Okay, so I wanted to support what the two of them just brought about, raised the points that they just raised. And I also have another question. So assume that there's this AI that can solve mathematics problems. How will you detect whether those solutions are from the AI or that the solutions are from the student who presented them? We only looked at the text. How about mathematical symbols? How do you know whether it is AI generated or not?
Like when you come to talk about mathematical application with AI, that is where skill comes in, training comes in. If the system we live in is changing, we also need to strategically change so that we move with the trend. If mathematics writing does not have an explanation in the beginning, traditionally, now that we have AI, you make the student to have the formula, execute, treat the mathematics question, and also explain it in an analytical discussion, discuss how the procedure was done. With that, you'll be able to catch up with them.
Yes.
AI will do mathematical work for you, but it will not give you the analysis. Sorry, it will not give you the write-up. Let us, you know what? It is another is an edge or an era where we need to strategically change our system of teaching and learning. So if you ask a question and you know students will go to AI, you apply practical question. You can ask the question and ask for the procedure they follow to do the question. And to talk about the AI generating references, for crying out loud, AI generating references is just doing a programmed activity. AI cannot generate adequate, in all cases, references. That is why if AI has given you knowledge, you go now to use the real factual resources to get your references. So most of us, we want the AI to do publication for us, even publish it and give us the accepted paper. It is unethical. We still need to be human. The artificial intelligence, when you bring the evaluation, analysis of artificial intelligence, you will see there is a way world difference between a man and artificial intelligence.
So I want to I wanted to touch on the mathematics aspects, as my senior said. So there was this 2-page question from advanced data communication, solid on telecommunication. So this question involved this meter per second, like a whole lot of math, like symbols and all that. So we were a group. So I realized that they were posting solutions from GPT into the group that, okay, so this is the GPT answer to the question. So they just copied the question from the word file and dump it into the GPT. But upon reading the question and the solution they submitted, I felt like it wasn't matching. So they were using GPT 3.5, that is stable. So fortunately, I was having the GPT-4. So I switched to GPT-4 and I used the optical character reader. So I used a sniper. I took a section from the start of the question, the preamble, everything. So I took a screenshot of that, not the entire. So I pushed it into the GPT-4 for it, using the prompt engineer for it to understand the preamble first. Then I moved on to the second section and it was perfect. In fact, 100 over 100. With the one who gave the question realized that so there's a big difference when you are using optical character reader on the paid version and you know your prompt very well than you using the table. And the paid ones, the logic and how it responds to some of your information is far different with your prompt than that of the table. That is the 3.5. All the paid versions of these AI applications do have some features that enhance whatever we are doing. So when they were following what was given in the table GPT-3, they realized that the 4 was given, and it would give you, when an answer is gotten, I go ahead and ask the AI that, okay, how did you get this? Explain this, break it down. And it comes with a symbol, everything, whether it is backed by a principle, a theory, in network, telecom, it gives everything. It gives everything. So it boils down to the application, the AI tool that you are using. If it is free, do you know your limitation? If you are using the paid version tool, do you know how to use it? Are you also very good in prompting? Are you able to let the AI tool to keep something in memory and after recollect it? So all these things, if you don't get them intact, the AI is going to give you wrong answers.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thank you so
please,
much.
thank you.
Thank you
I
so
want
much,
to add to
Robert.
it before.
Please,
All
because
right, sorry.
yes, please.
I want to ask
Hello.
about the one who asked about the mathematics
Who?
question. We're
Hello.
using this for maths.
Patricia.
Hello,
Hello.
moderator.
Hello.
You need to watch
Patricia.
time,
Hello.
eh? I think we
So
crossed some
we are
time, so we
working.
need to
We
limit
crossed
the
some time,
questions.
and then we need to. Yeah, that was the last
So
question
that,
that we took.
yes, so kindly check time.
So I would want to call on Dr. Kamkam from the Department of Information Studies to give a final remark. Dr. Kamkam. Okay, Prof. Akapovi, I think you can give the final remark. So yes, please.
Hello, am I to speak? Moderator,
Hello,
your
Prof.
volume is not coming clearly. Who is speaking?
Hello,
Is it me?
Prof. Prof is speaking. Yes, please.
Yes. Colleagues, I'm very sorry, but because of time, you normally keep this within 2 hours, but I think we have exceeded for some 15 minutes. We want to first of all apologize to our cherished listeners. And I want to first of all thank you all for your contributions. I think the topic has been extensively discussed and we have learned a lot. In final remarks, I'd like to stress the fact that yes, Africa, we stand at a unique juncture in history, poised to leverage on artificial intelligence as a catalyst for unparalleled development and growth. There are a lot of opportunities that are coming our way if we are able to embrace the AI. So the integration of AI in our educational institution is not merely a choice, but as it stands, is a necessity that is driven by the imperatives to foster innovation, to enhance, learning outcomes, and to address complex challenges facing our continent. We cannot lag behind all the time. When you look at the number of innovations and then promises before the AI, we have no choice than to embrace it. And I'm very happy that throughout the debate and the discussion, you have also supported that side. However, the successful integration of the AI in academia, especially in the tertiary space, necessitate a concerted effort from all stakeholders. And I think that these stakeholders must include policymakers, educational leaders, industry partners, and broader community. So collaborative initiatives are needed to develop what we call the AI talent pipelines. Those are the people who work in the area, and to establish ethical frameworks for AI deployment, and also to ensure equitable access to AI-enabled educational resources. I think on the individual, there have been quite a lot of initiatives, and I want to inform you that we hosting this webinar today, Accra Technical University, we are partnering with some institution in Portugal to establish for the first time a very, very huge AI laboratory. And we are in the process, and then we are acquiring a number of equipment. We hope that this will become a reality in a few days to come. In conclusion, the acceptance and integration of AI in academia represent, in my view, a paradigm shift with immense potential to reshape the future of education in Africa. It is incumbent upon us to embrace this technological evolution, to harness its transformative power, and to chart a course towards a more inclusive, innovative, and prosperous educational landscape for generations to come. I thank you very much for listening to this
webinar series, which is organized by our library. I take this opportunity to say big thanks to the University Librarian, Dr. To our cherished speakers, Dr. Bansa and our colleague from the University of Ghana. We thank you very much, and I wish you the best for the rest of the day. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Prof, so much. We want to thank everyone for joining the meeting. And I would also call upon you again in our subsequent webinar. Have a great day. Bye-bye to everyone.